Hello, I'm Mark Collins. I'm Director of the Commonwealth Foundation, and I'm here to tell you about the Commonwealth People's Forum, which is the biggest civil society gathering in the Commonwealth calendar. Whether you're from a trade union, a faith group, an NGO or a professional network, we want to hear your voice. The heads of government need to know what you think about the theme for this year's Heads of Government meeting, which is very important to us in civil society, because the theme is partnering for a more equitable and sustainable future. The Commonwealth Foundation is actually an intergovernmental body, but our role specifically is to strengthen and support civil society right across the Commonwealth. We in the Commonwealth feel it's very important that civil society works alongside governments in deciding what the future holds. Looking back to Kampala and reviewing the Kampala communique from the Commonwealth Heads of Government, three things stand out for me. First of all was the theme of transformation, secondly the theme of tolerance, and thirdly the theme of climate change. There were good intentions in Kampala, but a lot's happened since then that has set us back in these three areas of work. First of all, let's look at transformation. The recession has caused a lot of retrenchment in overseas development assistance. And in a lot of our developing countries, we're seeing failures in the social safety nets of health, education, and so on. We're seeing rising unemployment, particularly amongst the young. Let's look again at tolerance, or respect and understanding as it's called in Commonwealth circles. Here again, partly at least because of the economic recession, we're seeing a lot of conflict. In Southern Africa, East Africa, South Asia and the Pacific, right across the Commonwealth, there are sadly examples of intolerance and of conflict. We need to do far more to address that. And in terms of climate change, the situation seems to have got worse. The scientific data indicate that climate warming is happening faster than was previously foreseen. And this is very bad news for a lot of our small states, particularly small islands who are vulnerable to climate change, and those countries like Bangladesh with large areas of low-lying land. In Trinidad and Tobago, we're going to take a close look at the civil society statement that came out of Kampala, Realising People's Potential. There are some things in here where I definitely feel we've moved forward. For instance, on the rights of sexual minorities and people living with disability. But there are other areas where progress hasn't been so good. For example, financing for gender equality. So we'll need to follow up on that. But there are some new issues too that we want to bring to the table. For example, the importance of culture in development. We think that cultural expression is a very important part of the development process, and cultural livelihoods can play an important part in getting through the economic recession. We also want to look at high sustainability recovery. How can we recover from the recession and arrive in a different place than the one we left, with a better level of sustainability in terms of carbon use? Thirdly, we want to look at natural resource management, in particular fisheries. There's a lot of concern. Many Commonwealth countries depend heavily on fisheries, but the marine capture fisheries are declining very fast, and there's a serious problem there. We need to address that. There are other issues. For example, we will continue to look at the human rights agenda and the problems that we see in the abuse of journalists, for example. And we'll be looking at the problems of youth and what the future holds for them. After all, they constitute about half of the people across the Commonwealth. The Commonwealth, including its civil society groupings, has a key role to play in today's world. Increasingly, we are seeing the importance and the role of informal groupings, such as the G20, for example, where non-binding decisions are taken and discussions are held. In the Commonwealth, we have a unique grouping of large and small states, rich and poor states as well. It's a unique opportunity for all these different countries to come together and to discuss issues of the day. I look forward to seeing you in Trinidad and Tobago.